can't turn back. I'm falling and I can't turn back.
And we're live. Good morning. What's up, Sloth? How's it going? Sloth, you can do me a favor, man. All right? You've been really helpful keeping my posture in check, and I really appreciate that. Don't let me play any more of these viewer challenges again. It just always ends badly. Always. I'm not going to go into... Yes, serious, but just don't let me do it anymore. All right. So we are starting a brand new Puzzle Rush survival mode here. As you can see, we got the double dash marks. So this is brand new. All right. 60, here we come. So this looks like it's kind of a layup taking the queen, right? Can you imagine if I missed the first one? That would have been horrible. Here we got a mate on the side of the board. I'm not going to go on it. Okay. In this one, we've got a nice back ranker, mate in one. Another back ranker. Another back ranker. Well, not a back ranker, but another mate in one, I meant to say. Mate in one. 1. Mate in 2. Here, we can use this check to force the king to the corner. Here we can win the queen. Is that going to be enough? Yep, looks like material is completely even. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute there. Well, I guess we play knight g6, forcing knight takes, and then we just have complete control of the light squares, and that'll get her done. A little tough for 691. Okay, that's a mate. Here's a mate in 2. We can give this check and then mate on the 8. Looks like we just got this here, just making sure I'm not missing anything else. This looks good. Okay. So we take the queen and then we win the bishop at the end of the line. We got a back rank mate here with the rooks. Here we can win this loose knight, it appears. Check. Also comes with check, which is nice. That's always nice. Guess we just push g7 here and win the rook in the corner. That was an interesting one for 1142. So right there, I didn't really talk through my process. I was removing the guard of the h2 square. So white was forced to block there. We can liquidate this. And in this position, we pick up the knight. Okay, let's see. Here, looks like we're just gonna have a mate with the rooks. Here, here, here. So the king was really nicely controlling everything there. So here we can give a check on f7 and pick up that rook, which is nice, which will also lead to checkmate. Okay, here we have a discovered double checkmate. One of the most forcing moves in chess, because you have to move the king. You can't resolve the check by moving by blocking the piece or capturing. You have to move the king. If you can't move the king, it's just game over. Okay, what's going on here? All right, I think we're in the territory now where we got to start looking at the material. Sloth, I just want to say, by the way, man, really, really appreciate you. You've been such an active member of the community. Just really happy to have you here. Let's see, we got 2 rooks. Minor pieces cancel out, queens cancel out. Oh, this is really interesting. There's actually a queen sack mate here. Huh. Not your everyday run-of-the-mill 1391. Okay. But like I said before, you know, our intention is just, doesn't matter what the rating is, we're just trying to solve the puzzle on the board. So this is kind of a tricky one in that, you know, I see a tactic here to pick up the queen. The problem is we have to reckon with this rook h1 mate. Good vibes and fun to watch. Hopefully for long it won't be. Hopefully for long it won't be. But if there's anything I can do to make things clear, let me know. I try to explain my thought process as best I can, but so I think knight takes f6 is correct. If king g6, we have queen f7, which would be mate. Okay. If king h8, I think we've got to resist the urge of capturing this queen. Instead, we play queen e8. Okay, we just go for mate because we don't have time to take this queen because black's got their own agenda. Okay, so here and here. All right. That's a simple question of asking yourself, what's my opponent's next move? Okay, and this is a really good way to practice that skill. Because I think, like, a lot of people would probably get that puzzle wrong if this were like, you know, 3 or 5 minute puzzle rush. You just see knight f6 capturing the queen, and probably fail to notice that black has a mate and one threat on the board. Oh, okay. Alrighty. So, alright, we're down a pawn. We have an exchange for a pawn, basically. But this extra pawn is a monster pass pawn on the side of the board here. We've got this pawn, you know, blockaded pretty well. I mean, pushing looks good to me. You know, because it supports maybe rook c1, something like that. Okay. And then rook c1. White's probably going to have to play like something like rook f1, rook g1, rook h1. You know, because the rook is on prise and you can't really take. But then I would be able to promote. No, but I can't really, because he would just take. Everything would be undermined. So like after rook g1, something like that, maybe I bring the king back to the g file, back to the first rank rather, and then just play a move like king e7, where, you know, the threat of rook a1 and just b1 really can't be matched. Okay, so it kind of does this cop-out move. I think it would have. Let me just show you that line that I was looking at real quick. So we come here, and I was really thinking that the best move here was not just doing this. It was like, okay, let's just try to keep the tension here, something like that. But I was looking at just simply taking, and then playing king here. Yeah, that's totally. It looks like there's a lot of ways to win this, but I think this is the most This is the most human way. And yeah, there's no way to stop that. So we're gonna end up with 2 pawns and a rook in this position is completely winning. Just wanted to show you that, because that was the key variation to calculate there. Oh, I forgot to share the stream. Just give me 1 second. Forgot to send my stream down the black hole of Twitter X. Literally nobody pays attention to this, but you never know. You never know. It's like playing the lottery, basically. You just gotta be in it to win it. Alrighty. Well, this is a... Oops, sorry about that. This is a very easy problem, it appears, where we can just give a check on b7. King's going to be forced to e8, and then we deliver mate on f7. Okay. Okay, in this puzzle, queen a3 would actually force c5, because if black plays king e6, we have queen e7 mate. So after c5, that opens up the 6th rank. We're able to come back to a6 with our queen, and that is mate. Huh. Oh, excuse me. Well, the queen's got to come in. So let's put that on the board. And let's take a look at the material balance of the position. We are down 2 pieces right now. So we really got to be playing for mate here. Looks like we capture on h7. That was a weird one. There was kind of like a number of things we could have done there, but in any event, looks like we can either deliver deadly discovery or a mate on f8. So the first step is to check. Okay. I don't get these, man. Like, just let's play them on, right? Okay, this is a nice one. This is a really important tactical motive to know in the endgame. We push the king to the 6th rank, okay, with h4, and then we play rook a6, and that will allow us to push our pawn through, because the rook will have to capture, okay, and that'll free us up. Easier said, I mean, it's going to be the correct answer, because remember, the computer's evaluating this. Winning an endgame with a queen and pawn versus a rook and 3 pawns is easier said than done. I think black might have some fortress like possibilities there, but you know, it's definitely the right answer. But you know, trying to win that in like a 10-minute game, in an end game where you probably got, you know, a minute or 2 left on your clock, I think whoever has the time advantage there is going to come out is going to come out victorious. Okay. So this position is really all about really 2 things. 1, our king activity. 2, the fact that black's rooks are disconnected. This really gives us the potential for an attack. And we have that with just this really kind of pretty ladder type mate on the side of the board. Okay, we got to be careful here. There are stalemate themes. Okay, so one thing we don't want to do is just grab on g4. If we grab on g4, pawn takes g4, game over. Draw. Don't want that. So what we can actually do in this position is to push. So f4, h4, let's say, f5, h3, f6, h2, f7, h1 equals queen, but then f1 equals, well, f8 equals, let's be really, let's kind of be a jerk about it and play f8 equals rook, which would be checkmate. So it's just important not to force any type of draw in this position. And notice in this position you don't want to take here, okay? Because then you're a move too slow. Then you're only getting a pawn to the 4th rank. We need a pawn on the 5th rank right now to make this work. Ah, it didn't let me to promote to a rook. Jerks. All right. So here we got a really nice mate on this super weak diagonal. This is the dangers of moving your f pawn. So we gotta be a little careful here, you know, because black has a potential mate on d1. So I'm liking the look of knight f6, king h8, and then capturing the bishop on g4. But it's really important which piece we capture with, right? If we capture with the knight, rook d1 is a big time problem. But if we capture with the queen, okay, we're defending the d1 square. And and the queen's also on prise. So black's either going to have to give up the rook or just take our queen and allow us to save our knight with knight takes g4. That looks good to me. Okay, they decided to take with the queen and push the knight back. Alright, there's only one safe square for the knight, but we're doing just fine there. What am I missing here? How is this not as simple as just rook takes f4, f7? Maybe it is that simple. That was... Okay. Whatevs. Okie dokie. In this position, looks like we can just... First of all, sometimes it's tough to orient yourself. We are playing black in this position. Black is going this way. Okay. White is going this way. So it looks like we can just play king d5 to blockade those pawns. But there's something that we have to calculate, okay? These pawns on d4 and e3 really restrict the black king quite a lot. So, what do we got here? Yo, alright, Aravan, thank you so much for following. Welcome to Team MVP, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, one thing we have to calculate here, because these pawns really restrict black's king, and the black king really cannot play a role in escorting this pawn. Okay, if we play this tempting move like king d5, we have to see whether or not the white king can manage to outflank this pawn somehow, or if the pawn can promote. Okay, so something that we have to calculate concretely. Of course, not with arrows though. So let's say king d5, king g4, b5, king g3, b4, king f2, b3, king e2, b2, king d2, and we promote with a single tempo. Okay, so that definitely seems like the solution to me. White is just one tempo short in this position. The interesting thing is, we see White's last move is king from g5 to f5. I'm wondering in that position if king to g4 would have held for White, where White would be in time to blockade this pawn, knowing that the black king cannot provide an escort really, because the second it moves up the board, this pawn is gone. So I'm wondering if that was just kind of the losing move. If White had played king g4, if they would have been okay. All right, so we blockade, and we win this by a single tempo based on our calculation. Alrighty. Let's see. Warm greetings from India. Warm greetings from the United States. Really happy to have you here. Thank you so much. Okay. So we've got a lot of light square weaknesses here. So a move like queen e4 is really calling out to me. All right, I'm trying to get something going on this long diagonal. And it's difficult. It's difficult to block. You know, we have our back rank nicely defended. So if we didn't, in certain lines, rook e8, king h7, rook h8 would be a big time problem. Okay, but we've got that covered. So I'm thinking in this position, if queen e4, queen e4, bishop f3. I actually think we can just take that bishop. Queen e4, bishop f3. Queen takes f3. Yeah. Yeah, we can just take there. And that's much better than taking on e1 with the queen. We don't want to do that. Because we want to, basically at the end of this line is we want to win a piece on f3. So there's the bishop coming in f3, and then we take there. Now we throw in this check. And then and only then we capture on f3. All right. 39 out of 39. Welcome to everyone in the chat. All right. Material balance in this position. We are down a pawn. We're down a pawn. This knight's en prise. We've got f7 pretty much locked down. Yeah, I actually think it looks to me like the solution is taking with the knight, right? Forking Well, what would be the defense there? Probably queen d3. Takes with... Do we have rook e2 at the end of that line? Yeah, I think taking with the knight is correct. Then it's just a matter of... Oh, okay. So that was that's the line I didn't think white was going to play. I thought the best defense was to actually come back with the queen. But now this either wins the knight or the exchange. Alright, we just win the knight then. Alright. Yeah, I don't think white played the best defense in that position. At all. Okay. Interesting position here. Rooks and queens cancel out. Knight. We are down 2 pieces in this position. 2 pieces for 2 pawns, basically. But we obviously got a monster attack here. Got a discovery set up, but this bishop is attacking our queen right now. So I'm looking at the move knight e6. Knight e6 check. There's no way for black to interpose, so the king would be forced. I mean, if king h7, queen g7 is mate. If king h6, we have queen g7, king h5, queen g5 mate. All right, didn't even make us solve that one. Okay. Alrighty. This is an interesting one that I think may entail sacrificing the rook. Let's just calculate that. Rook takes h2 because it's such a forcing move. And the reason I'm drawn to that is just because these knights are completely boxing the king out. So a capture and rook d2 would force the king to the back rank. So let's see. Rook takes h2, king takes h2, rook d2. Let's say king to the corner. Okay, then you'd have knight g3 check, king g1, rook g2 mate. Okay, so what's the other candidate move we have to calculate? And that is king g1. So rook takes h2, king takes h2, rook d2, king g1, rook g2 check. King goes to either square. Knight g3 is just mate. So Arivan, I didn't see it, but do not put moves into the chat, please. Now that's one thing I didn't calculate, was this possibility of just dumping the rook to give the king a little bit more breathing room. We do not have time to play, you know, some sort of slow move. So it's very important where we check here. Because if we play rook g2, obviously king h1, knight g3 is mate. But if king f1, okay, knight g3, then the king has the e1 square available. And then it's not so clear. But if we check on h3, king h1, knight g3 is mate. Knight h3, king f1, knight g3 check would be mate because it would be protecting the rook. All right, so that Unfortunately, that was something that I didn't calculate. I wish that I did. I saw that move, like rook e2, just dumping the rook, but I didn't realize it was going to change the mating pattern that significantly. So, yeah, that wasn't too good that I missed that. Okay, so we got to discuss, first of all, material balance here. 3 minors. We're down a whole rook. But, you know, we've obviously got the king on the ropes. I think it's very important in this position to capture this pawn on d7. I don't think we want to allow the pawn move d5. We also need some breathing room for our rook to deliver, you know, a potentially fatal check. So the move I'm looking at is rook takes d7. Rook takes d7, okay? And in that position, if king f8, rook d8 is checkmate. The other nice thing that rook takes d7 does is that it blocks the bishop's diagonal so that it can't even contemplate sacrificing itself after d5 and then freeing up the rook for back rank defensive purposes. So the other move that we need to calculate, rook takes d7, what happens if knight e6? Just blocking. Well, we can take with the bishop there. The king would still move to f8, and then rook d8 would be checkmate. Okay. Notice we're not... Okay, there that previous one I missed a line, but we're not guessing on these. We're not saying, oh, this looks good. We're calculating everything concretely, and I think that's really important. Let's see. So in this position, rooks, minors, and queens cancel out. We have even material, as do the pawns. Ah, okay, I see this one. This is an interesting one. So we can take on e4. Okay, and white has to address that. I don't think white has time for any type of intermezzo, Zwischenzug, in-between move, whatever you want to call it. So that would drag the rook to e4. We could then play knight f6, attacking the rook and a discovered attack against the bishop. So I think in that position, we're just basically winning a piece there. I don't see a way for white to launch any type of counterattack or defend those pieces simultaneously. Anything doing with queen h6? Guess I didn't calculate that. Not really, just because after g takes f6, queen h6, at the very least we have the immediate queen f8, just defending like all the dark squares, so really no issue there. What the heck am I missing in this position? How is this just not checkmate in 2? What? Alright, I'm just doing a double check here, because this puzzle should be about 2400. Okay, I mean, whatevs. Alright. In this position, we are down a rook and a bishop. Obviously we can recapture a knight on c6, still be down a rook. So, is there anything really crushing in this position? I think we gotta play queen takes c6. So I think we should just put that on the board. Alright. And you know, we gotta watch moving this knight unless it's coming with check, because queen g5 could be kind of a problem. That might actually end up being a perpetual at the very least, because black's pieces would really be cutting across here. And I think there might be a perpetual with the queen between g1 and g5. Let's see. So we can deliver that knight move with check by first capturing on h6 here, and this will force the win of the queen. Okay, 46 out of 46. White to move. So this is a toughie, because you know, you have a position here where it's quite easy to, you know, kind of build a bridge and promote this pawn, but black's really got their own. I think it's just a matter of recognizing that you gotta make the pawn promote. Like, you can't just play h7, h8. That you gotta build a bridge and shield the pawn with the rook. And I think we're just able to do that. I mean, seems like we're in time. Okay. So we build a bridge, and we just keep giving the pawn cover. So it's very important that the pawn promotes there and not the and that we don't just end up a rook, because if we're just up a rook in that position, I think those two pawns will be very difficult to corral. Okay, this is a simple Boden's mate in this position, where we're taking on c6, pawn takes, and then we have this double bishop checkmate. This is just a very kind of essential checkmating pattern to know, especially when your opponent has castled on the queen side like that and made some weakening moves. It's just very common. This puzzle looks very familiar to me. I think I had this puzzle yesterday. I did. And I know that the solution is rook takes a3. Why am I getting the same puzzle? And I know I just stepped back here. That's bizarre. I had that puzzle in my last run. Okay. I can't say I've ever had... I mean, the database is huge. I think that's... Hopefully that's not some sort of glitch, but I just think it's just kind of like a random occurrence that that happened. All right, we're 49 out of 49 no strikes. So yeah, wouldn't it be just great if our rook was right here where it should be? So I'm just guessing that since the pawns are on e4, e5, that this was some sort of Italian type game where white sacrificed the bishop on f7, the king took, the queen and knight came in, and black had to hide over here. That's what this position looks like to me. Okay. I see this one. It's actually kind of a nice combination of a back rank make and a second rank make. So we can play queen a5 check. Okay. King d1, queen d2, mate. So king f1 forced. We can then play queen b5 check. Okay, queen b5 check. If the king comes back to e1, queen e2 mate. King g1 forced. We then have rook b1 check. Rook takes, queen takes, and we've kind of orchestrated a back rank checkmate for ourselves. Okay, just making sure that this doesn't change anything. Yeah, it doesn't. I should have calculated that, but it doesn't change our pattern at all. That's 2 times now in this session where I failed to calculate a desperado, where my opponent is just, or the puzzle, whatever you want to call it, is just giving up a piece since it's already up material to try to disrupt my coordination and my mating pattern. I needed to calculate that and I failed to do it, but you live and you learn. Okay. Excuse me. What do we got going on here? This is a nice one. This is a really nice one. I think we can play b4 here. Okay. Obviously, if the knight moves, that completely undermines the defense of the queen, and we just take the queen, and game's over. So, black would capture our queen. But the nice thing is we're recapturing the queen with check. Knight takes e7, check. Okay? And then we can take the knight. But the story doesn't end there. Okay? Because if you can imagine in that position, rook e8 well, by the way, when we take on e7, king f8. Wait, hold on. Yeah, b4, queen takes e7, knight takes e7 check, king f8, b takes c5, rook e8. Okay, so black is actually going to win back this piece because of this pin. So it's very important in that position what we do with our pawn on c5. In that position we have c takes d6. C takes d6. Oh, what do we got? Yo, McKee. Am I pronouncing it correctly? McKee XZ? Welcome to Team MVP, man. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the first time chat. We are 1 away from our follower goal, by the way. 1 away. Boom. Oh, Mike. Mike, this is part of the course on this channel. Me mispronouncing Twitch handles. It's part of the entertainment, I think. All right, let's just check our line one more time. b4, queen takes e7, knight takes e7, check, king f8. We take on c5. The rook comes to e8, and we have the really nice move. Pawn takes d6. propping up our knight, we can continue with rook e3 next. And we are good to go. All right. All right, it didn't make us find... That puzzle definitely should have continued. You have to see what happens after rook e8, because if you don't see that, that puzzle doesn't work, because you're losing back the piece. So I guess it stops there because it's not like completely forced or whatever, but come on, man. Mike, no, and I know you saw the rules, the chat rules. Do not put concrete moves in the chat, please. Whether we're doing puzzles, whether we're doing games, do not put moves in the chat. Okay. Oh, good for you, Mike. I'll check out your stream sometime. Yeah, sure. I'll follow you, man. All right. The problem with knight takes c3, and that looks like a very obvious move, is the move pawn e5. That's a big time problem. Okay, because recognize that right now material is even. Material is even. If we play knight takes c3, e5, we have no way of propping up our knight on c3, because notice the square, the c6 square would then be attacked by the bishop, so we couldn't play queen c6. Okay, so our queen would move and we'd lose our knight. So the better move is actually bishop takes c3, okay? And the nice thing about that is that if pawn takes d5, we play bishop takes b2, okay? We're on that bishop. So if bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, white doesn't have time to take the knight on d5 because the queen's on prise. So then you have queen takes c3, knight takes c3. And that's how you win the piece. Okay, so we have that kind of that disruptive check, but here we can just... Do we come back to take it? This is, again, another... This is definitely a development point for me, is these desperado moves in these tactical lines. Okay, so we kind of have that line, but we're able to capture here. Ooh, man, there was a lot to this position that I wasn't really seeing. Man. So where would we end up there? Yeah, we're okay taking the two rooks. Man. I mean, I got this right, but I really didn't. Okay, I saw that bishop takes c3 is the way to go, but there was so much more to that problem. I didn't consider the desperado. I didn't consider the fact that my back rank was weak, that I would have to give up the queen for two rooks. There was a lot to that problem that I missed. What is going on here? Wowzers. So the wow, okay, man, this puzzle's crazy. Both queens are on prise. My bishop's on prise. So is it as simple as just posture check? Thanks a lot. You the man. It's one of the biggest things I need to improve on for again, potentially going back to OTB play. So I'm looking at Queen F4 because it keeps the bishop defended. Queen F4. Let's say King B8, King B1. That seems to be most natural. And then Rook takes A8. There would be Rook takes B4, Rook takes G4, Queen takes G4, Rook G1, but then we could play Queen takes G1, Knight takes G1, and in that position we're just up the exchange. Okay, it didn't make us find... I mean, it's pretty obvious that you need to take the rook after that. 53 out of 53 no strikes, man. We're gonna keep this going. Okay, we've got a disaster brewing on H8, so we need to find something really good and really fast. I mean, it has to start with a check. It just has to. So the only question is, are we checking with the queen or are we checking with the rook? We must be checking with the... Well, no, don't say that, Tom. Because what's your follow... Okay, you say that, but what's your follow-up after the rook? There is none. If the queen checks, we do have a follow-up. Queen F1. Don't be so... Yeah. It's just like too dismissive of a move for absolutely no reason. Queen A1, King G2, Queen F1, check. King G3, forced. Queen G1, mate. It's actually a very simple mate in one if you just don't play an automatic move like Rook A1. All right, come on. 54 to 54. Boom. All right. Here we've got, I think, a pretty straightforward queen sack. Queen takes E1. Queen takes E1, Knight F3. The main question in that position is, can the knight get out? No, wait, but hold on. Look at the material balance. I'm down a rook. I'm already down a whole rook. So that's just not good enough. Taking on E1 is a very tempting move, but we play Knight F3, King G2, Knight takes E1. Looks like the knight would be able to escape in that position, but we would be up a pawn in that position. Pawns on both sides of the boards. The bishop's going to be better than the knight. I think that provides white fairly good compensation for the pawn, especially since this pawn is isolated and potentially weak. My knight would have... Yeah. I just don't think it can be that move. Meanwhile, Knight F3 check is a lot better. Because... You know, we could also... The king can't come to G2 because knight takes E1 check would be the end of the world. So the king would have to come to H1. And I'm wondering in that position if we don't just play queen takes F2 and just play for mate. problem is, can we get away from White's perpetual checks? I think so. See, this is one of those situations where a tactics puzzle kind of steers you in the right direction, because if you were playing this in a real game, you wouldn't know if you were playing for a win or if a draw was as you know, if you should go in for that slightly better line where you're up a pawn. But if I feel like it's, because it's a puzzle, if I know that it's not a totally decisive advantage, I can force myself to look for more. Yeah, and the nice thing is, like, the queen and the knight coordinate so nicely. You really can't stop, because you have twin threats of queen h2 and queen g1 mate. So it's not like you can even just, like, bring the rook to the second rank and defend. You can't. It would really be a matter of, see, just looking at this position, if we play knight f3, king h1, queen takes f2. Oh! Queen c3. First of all, it's really important not to play king h6, because queen e3 check would get queens off the board. But in that position, Black has pawn to d4. Boom! Attacking the queen. There are no checks. With an unstoppable mate. Pawn to d4 is the key move in this whole position. Boom! That was a good one. I just want to show you the key thing that I was calculating there. We're 55 out of 55, by the way, with no strikes. Awesome. So, first of all, this is just not getting it done. Now, I think a lot of people would complain about this puzzle and say, well, no, I don't think you guys can see this. The computer is giving Black 0.9. Okay, the evaluation is 0.9 in favor of Black. And I mentioned that because we have pawns on both sides of the board, because White has a bishop, because this knight is slightly awkward placed, White is going to have some compensation. And I think in practice, especially with this weak pawn, it would be difficult to win. That's why I knew I needed to look for more. But, so king here, that's a non-starter. Removes the defender, the game's over. So king h1 is absolutely forced. And this is what I wanted to potentially avoid, right? By the way, d4 is the only move in this position. The only move. Okay? The most natural looking move to run away is this, but then, boom, queen e3, which we found, gets the queens off the board, and you are dead lost. Absolutely lost. So it was absolutely critical in that position. If you did not see pawn to d4, there is no way that you should be playing knight f3. None. Even if you get the tactical puzzle wrong, who cares? Because in a real game, if you didn't see pawn to d4, you should have gone for the other line, where you're still up a pawn at least. You have winning chances. It's not like you don't have none. All right. Oops. I just did a game review on a tactical puzzle. That was bizarre. All right, so we'll leave this run at 55 out of 55 with no strikes, and we'll move to our live play in just a second. Let me just make sure everything looks good. It does. I'm going to take a quick break just to get something to eat real quick and a drink. I will be right back. Don't change that dial. You know, it just occurred to me. Yeah, snack time. That's a cool chair. Yeah, it is a cool chair. It's a very expensive chair. It occurred to me when I leave, if I need to take a break, I'll start putting up, at least leaving a tactics problem or something for you to look at, just so people aren't sitting there twiddling their thumbs for a minute. I'll do that going forward. My bad. All right, hopefully you guys don't mind me eating an apple. Looks like we lost a follow. I think Aravind was perhaps a little annoyed that I wouldn't let him put who's in the channel, perhaps? I don't know. But we're 2 away from our goal. You know, today's Tuesday. It's Title Tuesday. There are a ton of streamers on. Obviously, I'm not a title player yet. So Tuesdays are always a dice shoot. All right, let's get in there. I keep my energy level up. Who's this dude? All right, good luck to you, man. All right, we have an Italian. The old Joko piano. Man, I have got to take a look at what... I've been getting this 5 castle line so much. I think I got to make this line a priority line in my course on Chessable, because I absolutely have to drill this. I've just been completely winging it. I'm totally good on D4. Okay, that just lets me play pawn to D5. So that's no problem. What I don't know what to do in those positions is what happens if a quick D4? Not just strengthens my center. Go with that. Okay. Excuse me. Not sure what's best here. I was looking at queen f6, but I don't want to deprive the knight of that square. Queen d6 also looks potentially dangerous after d4, bishop b6, and then bishop f4. I don't want to walk into that crap. Let's just put the bishop here. Okay. I think the bishop belongs here now. That was the other thing too about not wanting to play queen d6, is it gives me the other additional option of bringing the bishop to a better diagonal. And if given the opportunity, perhaps I push c5. Wow, he just... Oh, hey, buddy boy. Just came in. Now, I'm really surprised by that decision. I figured he was at least gonna grab the bishop there for his troubles. How about this really active move? Am I missing something? This looks pretty attractive to me. See if we can force some weaknesses in our opponent's camp. Such as g3. Welcome to our new viewers. Apologies for eating while streaming, but I just need to do it to keep up my energy level to talk and to play. All right, we got a I think a pretty good position here. Bishop pair, active knight on e4, pressure against our opponent's king. Whoa. Okay. Move's certainly possible, but it does give my knight an outpost, and it does allow me to just bring the queen over here. Rook e8 looks like a very attractive move, but knight f6. There's actually not like a dynamite discovery after f6. So I'm actually kind of thinking I should push. Maybe push c5 in this position. Yeah, I like the look of that, I think. Just try to offload that potentially weak pawn. Gives me a little bit more flexibility with my light scored bishop if my opponent plays knight e5, such as now. That's another reason I was like, I don't know about rook e8 just yet, because now I've got this square for the bishop. Okay. I'm okay on c5. Bishop f2, I can just retreat the queen. It's not a big deal. A little low on time here. I gotta speed up. That's an interesting move. But now I can take here. Let's gain time on the bishop. Do I play a move like... Is that bad? Ah, man, I don't know. It's kind of a tricky position. I think c5 is the principal move. Really? Okay. I didn't think he could give that pawn up. Just want to fix my coordination here. Improve it slightly. Let's bring the bishop here. I gotta get my rooks playing a little bit better. Oh, he is up a pawn. I miscalculated that. Definitely got some compensation here, though. Maybe I recapture the pawn on f4. Oh, I missed that. It's kind of an annoying move. Got to bring this rook back. Because I just noticed queen e6 would be a big problem if I took on b2. Yep, I was hoping for that. I was hoping for that. That's why I always had compensation in this position. Always. Those killer bees and his just exposed king. What was that guy's rating? Oh man, he was rated really... Wow, that's playing way under. He acquitted himself very well. Good game, man. I just have to look up this line. Although I got a very good version of it. The one that's really throwing me off is in this position if black plays d5. Because things are a little bit different. Like, what if we get this position? Is this okay for me? Ugh. You just put the rook here. Yeah, the knight's taking on c5. Knight takes. Rook takes. I guess you bring the knight back to... Oh, you could even throw the knight in here. Yeah, I guess this is good. I just gotta look up what Shanklin recommends here. I just noticed for some reason I've had show the best move on. Okay, didn't like that. Bishop d7 mistake. Probably thought it was a little too passive for some reason. Probably a queen move here, I would think. Or maybe putting the bishop on b7. Oh, okay. We're just going for counterattack. So often that's the case in these open games, in these Italian structures. You just end up giving up a pawn for crazy e-file activity. Okay, did not like that move. Doesn't want me to capture. I mean, unless I capture, I don't know what else to do. Where else can the bishop go? Don't tell me the move's here. Man. That just looks like it's... Am I just trying to provoke this move? Is that the idea? Man, that just looks like I'm giving up so much space to my opponent. F5? And I got to counter with F6? I can't play that way. That's a computer move. I think we played a very human looking move, which was totally fine. It didn't throw away our advantage or anything. I think calling that a mistake was pretty harsh. I end up losing a pawn in this position. Yeah, I just kind of let that one go, didn't I? Should have just captured there. Okay, so that line was fine. Did not like rook fc8. So... Oh, because can't take with the pawn, which would be ideal. Because the queen's hanging. If queen here, then we can play rook fe8 and get really, really active. Are they saying the queen's trapped in this position? Oh my god, it kind of is because of the back rank. That just wins the house. Just show you guys queen out of the way. This is over because white's so underdeveloped. Wow, okay. So I missed a big time opportunity there. That was just me not... You know, one of the books I'm working through right now, you know, dealing in candidate moves. Bishop takes e5 just didn't even come up as a candidate move for me because I didn't want to give up my bishop pair. And I thought it would be improving white structure. So it was just a move that was just not even on my radar when it just so obviously works. It's just, I would, you know, Alright, queen h5. Good move. Yeah, and it was just really my opponent missing this fork. So where does the queen have to go? Probably makes sense. Well, maybe not to blockade. Because it allows rook e3. Queen here, maybe? Yeah, queen c2. Best move. Yeah, queen c2, best move. Okay, so I found the best move for white there. Yeah, and I had seen that tactic all along. It wasn't one that I was really broadcasting on the stream because just in case our opponent was watching us. Alright, new game. I really wish chess.com wouldn't open all these new panes for game review. It's really annoying. Alright, ZD54. Good luck to you. Bishop opening. Okay, and he plays a quick c3. And that does save the bishop. But it's a little slow and allows us to hit out in the center immediately. So I think that's what we should do. We gotta keep developing. We don't have time for knight b6 type maneuvers. Okay. So I know this line from my course, I think. Let's come here. Let's see if my opponent tries to win back this pawn. G4. Okay. He doesn't go for it. Because that turns into like a Marshall's attack on steroids. Alright, looks like knight b6 is a good move to make now. You know, it's not easy. Not easy for white to hold on to the light scored bishop and deal with this pawn. I wonder if I can't even just play queen d5 directly here. Kind of looks like a decent move. Maybe not. Let's just... I might be like confusing my lines, but you know, we've got this pin here. This pawn's weak. Okay, the knight drops it that way. So we got the bishop here. Yeah. May have overplayed my hand there. These d5 lines are really good, but very often it entails some sort of, you know, peace sacrifice. So it looks like we're just going to exchange, I guess. So my opponent's a little underdeveloped here. So that's a thing, like, you always kind of, it's tough to keep e5 together, to keep c6 intact in these lines, but very often this pawn on d3 becomes very, very weak and you end up winning it. I mean, I'm doing okay here. I'm sure I misplayed it though. Where's our opponent from? Portugal? You know, but we do have presence of opposite colored bishops and whatnot. Well, do I even need to defend that? Yeah. I don't think he wants to allow my rook to e1 before he's completed his development. And if he develops the bishop, then I've got a couple options. See what he goes for. He does go for this line. Okay. But now we're in time to play let's see. Time to play here. If rook d1, bishop g6 looks pretty good. Just really controlling that knight. You're unable to control the center. Well, what kind of openings are you playing? Okay. It's kind of a good move. Actually, I kind of like the look of this move. Use this pawn weakness maybe as a battering ramp to try to get a square for my knight, or kind of soften things up over there. Could be good. What time does Title Tuesday start? Anybody know? Alright, that's really... almost. Like I gotta start centralizing my king somehow. Let's come here. Gosh, I don't want to make my rook that passive, but I feel like I have to. Hopefully it's only temporary. Oh, geez, but I just critically weakened my back rank. Ah, brother. Okay, Rico, did I just see a move in the chat? Did I just see a move in the chat? There's plenty of streams out. If you want to help some noob get a rating they don't deserve, there are plenty of streams out there for that. But we are playing this straight up. That's the essence of chess, Rico. I just wanted to know why I'm wrong. That's all anybody wants to know with this game. You gotta figure it out yourself, man. See which way he retakes. Fortunately, I am going to be able to solve the, my activity problem with this rook. Like, that's no longer a real issue for me. Man, I got a real problem moving. I can't do that yet. I was looking at moves like rook a3, but if I give up on the pawn on c7 and take on b3, there are big time problems. Okay, now this is better for me because actually, no, I can't force the king there. The knight's defending this square now, because there were lines where he was forcing my king in the corner and I was getting mated. Okay, rooks come off. Oh, you know what would have been a nice move there, potentially, was c5. c5 might have been a nice move there. Now he can play c5, but what are you gonna do? Oh, he just gives up the pawn? Very surprising indeed. Alright, I got this knight under control. Activate my king. Just put the pawn there, the bishop there, where it's a little more secure, a little more out of the way. Gotta play this endgame fast. But it looks like my king will conquer. Let's see if we can eliminate the knight. Oh, but he can come here. Psych. That's mate. Got him. Yeah, so I'm either capturing that knight on f3, which that king and pawn ending will probably be winning, or he has to walk right into that mate. Another one which I saw, like I saw that idea in the position. That's how I found it so quickly when it happened. But I'm trying not to say, oh, and if my opponent goes here, I can checkmate him. It's like I'm still doing the red herrings, but I'm also not being an idiot. You know, it's I can't telegraph everything. So like with the other game when I had bishop c5 winning the queen, I saw that as an idea, but I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, so that was wrong. So probably just kind of hunkering down here and playing bishop d6. That's so often the right answer. And because of this pin, the only way he can win this pawn is by playing g4, critically weakening his king. And then we could have a position like this. But even then, we're still winning this pawn on d3, and this is a really good position for us. Let's see. Yeah, so a6, And I really felt like I was worse in this endgame. Well, not felt like, I knew I was. So it didn't like my a5 idea. Probably better just to play this move. But then I was just thinking, well, he plays here. I saw knight f4, but it wasn't really doing much. H6, okay. You just basically plant the knight there and hope for the best. Alright. It didn't like it. It didn't like it there, but that A5, A4 idea saved the game for me. 100%. It allowed my rook to get active, and it allowed me to attack, you know, some weaknesses over here. Bishop C2 is a mistake. See, I'm just going to show this for example. I just wanted to show you why the dangers of going after these pawns. Because white can just capture with impunity here, and you're like, oh, well, I can just take and then defend my knight. No, you can't. Because bishop d6, and there's always this checkmating pattern hanging over your head. So there was a point in the game where I could have captured on c2, but I would have fallen to mate. Like right here is a perfect example. It was like right here where I'm like, oh, okay, let's play here. And then after this, I'm just going to take on c7. We'll liquidate to, you know, a pretty equal endgame. No. You're just going to lose. So knight d7 there was the only move. And he backed off. Okay, yeah, bishop e2 would have been better just to keep the knight out of the rook out of a3. Okay, c5 would have been better, yeah. I took... And here I played... Oh, okay. It likes knight b6. Yeah, that's a better way to attack that pawn anyway. Because if you force it to come forward, then you get this really nice square. Hitting all this stuff. I played bishop c2. I was kind of kicking myself for not playing c5, but I don't even think that's... Yeah, that draws. That's a good... If you take with the bishop, you can actually end up just losing this position potentially. And if pawn takes, once again, the nice thing is that it cripples these pawns and it fixes this as a weakness, so then you can just win this pawn back. So c5 would have been a nice way to draw, like right on the spot. But my opponent just didn't defend the pawn. I don't know why. Then f6. Yeah, of course not. That bishop's been annoying the hell out of me all game. Of course I'm going to take it off. And then I just slowly started advancing my majority, pushing my king. And I imagine bishop e2 is a winning move here. It's got to be, yeah. Because the computer is saying, oh, g4 is best. But then bishop takes f3, I think is simplest here. F takes g4 here, and then king e5. And this game is absolutely over. So I think knight f3 was just an absolute losing move. He came back to prevent g5 at all costs, but I think maybe the best that you have is here. Let's see, king e3. Yeah, this is okay for white. All right. Yeah, unfortunately, SJD, like, at some point, you know, you spend a lot of time studying openings and whatnot. Oh, can you guys give me a second while I check this? So, this is an article I wrote way back when. It's updated December 15th, 2023, but I must have written... Can you guys see this? I must have written this article... man, I don't know. April 22. It won blog of the month, and long story short, I ended up working at chess.com because of this article. But it's kept traction like all these years, and occasionally I get comments. It's basically how to make the site more accessible. Yeah, I'm 40. So I made a lot of a lot of suggestions to make the site more accessible, and people are actually trying to get voice recognition, get stuff for players with visual impairment and everything. So occasionally I'll get these comments and somebody just, yeah, it would be good to see. Lichess has done a lot with that. Chess.com has too, but there is certainly a lot of really good players out there who just can't play online for one reason or another. So trying to get them a seat at the table, basically. All right, let's do one more. All right, where's this guy from? I just don't want to allow Benoni. I know this isn't principled, but I just don't want to give this guy what he wants. I just don't want to do it. I think it would have been more principled to play d5 there. Alright, so we're really clamping down on d5 now. So this really kind of transposed into some sort of Sicilian, which I don't know, maybe my opponent will like, you know, since they might be a Sicilian player and all that. Don't want to bring this knight in too quickly. Alright, let's do it. I just want to make sure I have both of my knights pointed towards the square. What's the easiest way to get this knight to the e3 square? Probably rook e1, knight here. Oops. Knight here, here, here. In an ideal world, trade off this knight. Alright. Okay for now. It just seems a little slow to me. I also don't want to move the queen just in case he chops off the knight. Alright, let's just put the bishop here. Man, I don't know what to do. I'm thinking way too long about this position. I just gotta make a move. Alright, what I think the most flexible move is queen. If he takes, fine. Whatever. It's not a big deal. Does that allow d5 though? It doesn't. Well, I think it did. I think he just missed a big opportunity there. Alright, let's get the bishop in. I think this rook is the one we want. It's actually pretty difficult to save this pawn now. He might have to just go for straight counterplay with queen c7, potentially. When I just plant the knight on. So we're slowly but surely working our way into a classic Sicilian good knight versus bad bishop position, okay? Just imagine a position where black's got this bishop and this knight is just an octopus on d5 and there's no way that you can get rid of it. Okay. So it's going to entail making sure that we don't have to capture on d5 with a piece, making sure that black can't play d5. Like in this position, black should have played d5. You know, I did not play actively enough there. So making sure that we don't have to take with a pawn, and eventually orchestrating the exchange of this knight and this bishop, and then we'll get the exact position that we want, and we're very, very close to achieving it. I'm just not sure what the quickest way is for this knight to get where it wants to go. I still think it's moving the queen and doing this. So you imagine a position where he plays b5, I play bishop d5, he takes, I play queen takes d5, and then I just start rerouting the knight. Now there might be situations where he can play bishop h6 to try to cut across our plan of getting this knight to where it wants to be. So I'm not sure what my opponent... I think there's pretty much one move in this position, and I'm surprised that he's not playing it and or finding it yet, given his rating level. But he's in a opening that he may not be familiar with, assuming he doesn't play the Sicilian. If he does play the Sicilian, then he's probably happy playing c5 on move 1 and doing this whole ready invitation thing. But if he's not, let's say he plays the Caro-Kann or e5 or who knows what, he may be very unfamiliar with the structure. I actually think it's kind of a good strategy generally against Benoni players to do this. And it's not something that I've practiced, it's just something I'm kind of starting to realize is, you know, clearly they're not... This is very much a positional game, okay? And Benoni players are not positional at all. Otherwise, they wouldn't play the Benoni. So we've really got the game into something that is really in my wheelhouse. This is totally strategic. Right now, this entire game is about the d5 square. That's it. It's not about attacks. It's not about queenside initiative or a potentially weak diagonal like so often happens in the Benoni or any of that crap. It's about this square and the square only. So my opponent is clearly struggling with this. So or he's a dad whose toddler just threw up everywhere or needs a diaper change. I've been there too. When you sit down with good intentions, it's like, man, I'm gonna play this game, this is gonna be great, and then something happens with your kid and you know, maybe you have to abandon the game or who knows what. So that could be too. Who knows? What I hope is not happening is that our opponent has either abandoned the game or is getting frustrated with their position and doing you know what. This is a very, very, very tough position to handle. I mean, black for instance doesn't even have counterplay right now with f5 because of this bishop. This pawn's hanging. You've got like almost nothing to do. So coming back in this position, d5 is the move. Only move. So coming back here, I played this weak move, queen d2. by far the best move in the position for white, by far, is knight e3. Okay, I just want to maintain the blockade of this d5 and wait till I can coordinate my pieces. So he just gives up the pawn. Wow. I mean, things were bad. I didn't know they were that bad. Gaining time on the rook. Rook's kind of got to stay in the c-file, right? Otherwise, my bishop just comes back to c4, and we get the same position. Now you're just a pawn down for like no reason, and nothing doing on the a-file. It's not like this is. And who knows? This may be just he's still in Benoni mode. You know, a lot of times these queenside pawns can become weak in the Benoni. Not here. Okay, I haven't had to overextend them or anything. You know, I can just completely shut all that down with a3. So where does the rook even go? It's going to be really... There's absolutely nothing going on the c-file. Nothing. So... I think this is... I mean, I know this is extreme to say, but I basically think this position is resignable. My opponent is clearly a very good player. I think he just got... He missed his opportunity to play d5 and just found himself... You know, I've been in this position too. You know, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I mean, the only square is rook c7, and that just seems... It just doesn't seem like it's helping black's position at all. While we're waiting, I'll just show you the book that I'm finally working through now. All my opponents should be shaking in their boots, okay? Because I'm an expert and I haven't even read this book yet, okay? So I've worked through Yusupov's entire series, and now I'm moving on to Jakob Aagaard's. So I've already done positional play. Actually, at one point had that book memorized through Chessable. This one is available through Chessable, but books like this, you know, that are workbooks, okay? And this is how I learn. These are the only chess books that I read, okay? I will show you what I'm talking about. It has a brief introduction of the theme, and then it is totally a workbook, puzzle-based, active learning, okay? I'm improving my chess skill, not my chess knowledge. This is where it's at. So I think there's like an upwards of 300 exercises here. And my opponent's just gonna... Thank you, Ariel. Ariel, you really did me a favor there. I absolutely loved looking at this positionally dominating position for an upwards of 7 minutes. You really made my day. You thought, oh, I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna make him wait. He thinks he's so smart avoiding my Benoni. I'm going to make this guy look like an idiot on his stream and just make him wait. That'll show him. No, I actually loved every second of that. Just looking at the complete domination I have over the position, and that your position was so bad that you felt compelled to play rook c8 in this position. Wow. Wow. Okay. So, just so you guys know, if my opponent didn't resign like a coward, this is the only coordination that makes sense to me, because this rook on keeping the rook on the c file and rook a8 is the best move according to the engine. If you have to play something like this, it seems inconsequential now, but number one, this pawn is hanging. even if it weren't, number two, this poor coordination of your heavy pieces is going to come to hurt him in the end game. Guaranteed. I don't know how or when, but it will. So after rook a8, we just come back. I think coming to b5 is actually the most attractive square, potentially, but even c5 and moving the queen out of the... Well, we don't want to go there. Moving the queen out of the way, probably here. Keep tabs on the bishop. And then rerouting this knight to d5. That's the plan. All right, so that was a really good session. A perfect session, actually. We were perfect 55 out of 55 on our puzzle streak, which will continue tomorrow. We were also perfect in our games. We 1, 2, 3 games. Yep. So good session, especially after yesterday. A lot of bad vibes yesterday, but I've learned my lesson. So I hope you guys, if you guys are checking out and you're gonna go watch Title Tuesday, I really hope you enjoy the event and the coverage of that. And otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow's Wednesday, so a little on the early side, maybe around 8:30 or so. I will see you then. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Before I sign off, let me just make sure, I forgot to do this yesterday, my apologies. Make sure I thank Mike, not McKee. Sorry, Mike. Mike, thank you for the follow. And Aravind, thank you for the follow, although I think you may have left us, but whatever, you were here. You were here. We're happy that it happened, okay? We're just happy that it happened, even though it wasn't meant to be. And then SJD, good to see you. K Rico, Sloth, I'm glad you're enjoying the vibes and everything. And Mike, as promised, I will try to check out your stream if I can see it, man. Let's see who else we got. That was basically it. A little quiet in the chat today, but we've had, pretty good engagement, and that being a Title Tuesday day and all, that's all good. So we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for being on Team MVP. Bye.